Hello, my name is Ashley, this is Faithful Rattos, and welcome back. So in today's video I'm going to be telling you the reasons why I love my Bioactive cage, but before I get into that I probably should tell you what a Bioactive cage is. So a Bioactive cage, or technically speaking a semi-bioactive cage, is a cage where at the bottom, instead of normal substrate, my rats have soil, and inside the soil there is beneficial bacteria, isopods, which are like wood lice, and springtails, which are tiny little bugs that eat poop and mold. And those bugs and the bacteria are in charge of making sure that any waste that gets into the soil, whether that be pee, poo or food, gets taken care of. Sometimes if it's seeds, I actually will get them sprouting. But yeah, so a bioactive cage, technically speaking, has the complete sort of nitrogen cycle. Now when it comes to rats, it's not completely bioactive, because if you were to put plants in the soil, the rats would act like lawnmowers and the plants would be gone. Once, a couple of weeks ago, we actually grew basil for the rat. It was so big it even had flowers on it. Who knew basil flowers are blue? It even had flowers on it, and within 35 minutes it was gone. So you can't really trust rats to keep plants alive in their cage, so therefore it's not fully bioactive, and it's probably semi-bioactive, but we just say bioactive because it's easier to say. My rats are also litter trained, which means that most of the biological load isn't actually going into the soil. I'm cleaning that out, so that helps the bioactive too, but that's so much less work than changing the substrate all the time. So my first reason, and this is what I've just started to say, my first reason why I love my bioactive cage so much is that I have to do so much less cleaning when it's bioactive. Back when I had deep layers of normal substrate, wood shavings or shredded cardboard in my rat's cage, it used to take me half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes even an hour to empty the cage out. That is a lot of time. That hurt my back a lot, and now with my bioactive substrate I don't have to do that. I just have to sometimes, if they've not been digging very well that week or so, dig it around, maybe add a bit of water in, sometimes add in cleanup crew extra, and that's it, and it's totally fine to go. And I've had my boys bioactive for about 1.5 years now, and I actually spawned the soil into my girls' cage. So I split the boys' soil off into the girls' cage and gave them a starter, basically. If you want to think about it like a sourdough starter, like a bioactive starter. And maybe I should sell bioactive starters. Maybe I should sell my soil. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. So that's what happened. And now I have 2 cages that are bioactive, and I absolutely love it. When I had 1 cage bioactive and 1 cage not bioactive, well, that was a whole annoyance. So yeah, the cleaning is so much less because of it. I also find that they kick it out less-ish, and it's also easier to clean up when it is kicked out. So it gets kicked out, then it dries up, and it's so much easier to vacuum up than like any of the sort of like wood shavings or any other sort of substrate. It's great. The second reason why I love bioactive so much is just because of how much enrichment it gives my rats, especially those who like digging. My boys now, most of them are getting quite old and they're not digging as much, but my does, my girls, they absolutely love digging. And the amount of enrichment and exercise and fun having the bioactive soil that holds burrows gives them is incredible. And now I know you can get substrates that do hold burrows very well. Bioactive, by a long shot, I think holds them much better, and you don't even really need to destroy them to clean out the cage, because you don't need to clean out the cage. So the level of enrichment and natural feel that it gives my rats is second to none. And I have said before, the best decision I've ever made for my rats in terms of their like enrichment and quality of life is making my cages bioactive. It is, and it always ever, and I don't imagine that I can make any decision that would change that opinion for me. The third reason why I absolutely love my bioactive cages is because it is just opened my eyes to the wonderful world of inverts. So back when I first got my Bioactive cage, it was necessary to get cleanup crew bugs, so the isopods and the springtails that I mentioned. And at that time, I also inherited, with the cage and the soil when I got it, I also inherited a colony of dairy cow isopods. They are incredibly cute, very, very pretty isopods. I probably should sell them too, because they're living it up. There's a lot of them. And because of that, I've got into inverts, and I've kept mantis. I currently have stick insects, and oh my god, they're so big now, and it's opened up a whole new sort of like joy for me in keeping the insects and the isopods and things. So I really love Bioactive for doing that for me as well. And the fourth and final reason why I absolutely love my Bioactive is that in the long run, especially when I have colonies of the clinic crew bugs myself, it is so much cheaper than using regular substrate. If I were to fill the bases of these cages with regular substrate, I think it would probably take a whole bale of substrate, and that is like £15 now with the cost of shipping as well, because I don't drive. That is a lot of money. I still buy at least one bale of substrate a month for the litter trays and for like hospital cages and intro cages, and just to have it on hand. I cannot imagine how much I would be spending on substrate if both of these two big cages were also using normal substrate. I don't even want to think about it. I will say, if you are setting it up from scratch, sometimes that can be expensive because you have to buy the cocoa coir, you have to buy the bugs and all this stuff. However, in the long run, it's so much cheaper, and I absolutely love it. My bag cat loves it, the rats love it, I love it, my back loves it. It's just all around, like, it's just great. It's just great, and I absolutely love it. So I will leave this video here. If you have kept rats Bioactive and you have opinions, positive or negative, do leave them down in the comments. I know that my friend Emiology, who most of you probably will know on here, she kept her mice Bioactive for a while, and the mice, it wasn't good with the mice. With the rats, I think it's a bit different, because with mice, they're not really litter trained, so most of the biological load is going straight into the soil. So it's a little bit different with mice. With rats, I love it. I think it's great. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, queries, anything, leave them down in the comments. Do stick around and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.